If you're working as a health, fitness, or wellness professional, it's really likely that you're going to run into clients that are dealing with restless leg syndrome, or RLS as all the cool kids call it. The symptoms alone can drive your clients nuts and ruin their sleep. And when they're not sleeping, it's hard for them to be a human being. You really got to get some sleep. But what's more important is that some of the underlying causes for RLS can create much more significant issues. So when you can help your clients improve this issue, you may be helping them improve a wide variety of health issues. So in this video, we're going to help you understand the most common underlying causes for RLS and also give you 4 steps you can help your clients take to improve the issue. Here we go.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
Now the real tricky part about RLS is you're going to have clients describe their symptoms to you, and it's going to sound a lot different. You'll hear people saying things, oh, it's kind of like this creeping feeling or crawling or aching or burning or itching or even like an electric type feeling. And you'll see that the symptoms can really vary greatly from client to client. And when we look at this, we understand that the underlying cause can really be different for each person. And I know that you want to be like this solution, like, I just want to give them this supplement to fix RLS or make these dietary changes. But that's never going to happen because the underlying cause is not going to be the same for every person with dealing with RLS. So how are you going to have the same solution for every client? We really need to look at the client's unique bio-individuality, and that can give us insights into what the cause of the RLS is and steps they can take to improve it. So the first step that we need to look at when we're looking at RLS is we need to understand minerals. There are minerals in the tissues that are responsible for those tissues or muscles to be able to relax. Like some minerals help us contract, and some minerals are responsible for helping us relax, like calcium and magnesium is involved in that situation. So when enough of those minerals are not available, it can make those tissues or muscles almost uncomfortable. I kind of view it like leg anxiety, like there's just not enough minerals there for the muscles and the tissues to relax correctly, and it makes it very uncomfortable for those tissues, causing the person to just feel like, oh, I got to move them around and kind of keep things going. All of a sudden they're jogging for 3 hours in the middle of their sleep. So when there's not enough minerals there, this can be a big problem. And it's really common for a person not to have enough minerals in the system. We see it all the time. There's a lot of health issues that can come from a lack of minerals, things like depression and some forms of insomnia and anxiety. And this list can go on for a really long time because a lot of problems can come about from someone having a lack of electrolytes. And the reason this happens for most people is there are digestive malfunctions that are restricting their ability to break the food down correctly and pull those minerals out of the food that they're eating. So if you can look at a client's blood pressure and you see that that systolic number is lower than 112, that's a strong indication that there's not enough minerals in the system for everything to function correctly. So if someone has RLS and low blood pressure, that's really screaming, hey, help me lift my minerals to help me relieve these RLS symptoms. You know, another trick that you can use with clients to kind of give some almost immediate relief is you can have them rub magnesium oil into their legs before they go to bed. And this shouldn't be the solution. You want to help the client increase their mineral levels so that the body can function correctly. Get those into the system. Don't just rub them into the legs to relieve a symptom. But if someone's having trouble sleeping or the symptom is really driving them nuts, magnesium oil rubbed in can help those minerals get right into the tissues in a lot easier way. You don't have to go through all that digestive process and pulling the minerals out of the food. You just help the client put the minerals right where they need to be to kind of create some immediate relief. Another factor that can kind of confirm that this is a really common cause for RLS is that one of the most popular treatments for RLS in the medical world is to use anti-seizure medications. And we've talked about seizures in some of our other videos, and our view is that when someone's minerals and blood glucose both go very low at the same time, that can create a seizure. And it appears that a lot of these anti-seizure medications work because they restrict a person's ability to pee out their salts. So if they can't pee out those salts, they keep more minerals in the system, and now the minerals are high enough that the body's not going to feel like, oh, I just got to shut everything down because I don't have enough resources to run properly, and this seizure shows up. So the fact that this type of medication is improving RLS is a strong confirmation in our minds that the low mineral situation is very common with the RLS. So you can help a client lift minerals by supplementing with minerals, getting them to use a quality unrefined sea salt or an unrefined salt that can help them lift minerals. But what really helps lift minerals is when we look at step number 2, which is to correct any digestive malfunctions. It's really common for people to have digestive malfunctions nowadays. When we eat food, the stomach needs to make enough hydrochloric acid to acidify that food to really start breaking it down. And then when that acidic product leaves the stomach and goes into the duodenum, alkaline bile should drop down onto that acidic product and neutralize those acids. And when the alkaline bile meets that acid product, it creates this sizzle that really helps us bust the food apart and pull all the nutrients out of that food. But it's very common for clients not to be making enough stomach acid for a wide variety of reasons. And it's very common for someone's bile to become too thick and sticky to flow correctly, so it's not coming down to neutralize those acids. You really need both sides of digestion working correctly to create that sizzle and really bust the food apart and pull all the minerals out of that food. So if your clients are dealing with any type of digestive symptoms, any type of burping or bloating or constipation or diarrhea or acid reflux or nausea or even like skin issues, those are all really strong signs that digestion is not working correctly. And if you can help them correct those malfunctions, then you can help them get more minerals out of the food they're eating. That's why they're eating food, so they can get nutrients and minerals out of that food. And when you can raise the minerals in the system, if that's the cause for that client's RLS, they'll really see improvement. The third step is to reduce carb, sugar, and vitamin D intake. Now, keep in mind that we really want to have those minerals at that tissue level, not just in the system. They need to be at the tissue level to keep the RLS from kicking in at night. Keep in mind that we really need those minerals at the tissue level to relieve the RLS issues. Just don't put them in the system and think that's going to do the job. They have to be down at the tissue level. The problem with consuming carbohydrates and sugars is that calcium follows sugar, just like you would follow an ice cream truck when you were a kid. So when we consume a lot of carbohydrates and sugars, especially liquid sugars, can be really problematic. And this is why you hear a lot about, don't drink alcohol if you have RLS or it's going to make it worse. But these sugars and liquid sugars, when they go in the system, calcium wants to follow it. So it pulls the calcium out of the tissues where it needs to be, and the calcium follows that sugar. So if a person can reduce their carbohydrate, sugar, and liquid sugar intake, they'll stop pulling all this calcium out of the tissues. Vitamin D is the same way. Vitamin D is very important for us to help pull calcium out of the intestinal tract into the bloodstream. So vitamin D is very important for that. But when someone takes too much vitamin D, not only will that vitamin D pull calcium out of the intestinal tract into the bloodstream, which is a good thing, it will also pull calcium from everywhere into the bloodstream, which means it can pull the calcium out of the tissues and even out of the bones. So this cramming a bunch of vitamin D into our clients is really a big mistake with a lot of these clients. When they're having too much vitamin D come in, it's creating more harm than good. So you can look at a client's urine pH, and if their urine pH is over like 6.3, at least 2 hours after a meal, that's a strong sign that too much calcium is coming out of the tissue. So they're either getting too much sun exposure, taking too much vitamin D, or consuming too many carbs or sugars. One thing to keep in mind is you're going to tell some of these clients, hey, you got to reduce your carbs and sugars, and they're going to be like, you're nuts, I can't do that, I'm a carbaholic, I'm a chocoholic, my mom was a chocoholic, so it's in my blood, I can't get away from it. The reality is that a lot of people who can't break down proteins correctly or emulsify their fats and use those dietary fats correctly will gravitate towards eating carbs and sugars. They need them. It's the only fuel that their body can use because they're not digesting proteins or fats correctly. So this goes right back to that digestive malfunctions issue. When you can help a client correct any digestive malfunctions, now they can use proteins and they can use fats and they don't need all these carbohydrates. And the fourth step is to correct any irregularities or imbalances at the tissue or cellular level. So it's becoming very popular now to understand that lactic acidosis is a common cause for RLS. And what happens is too much lactic acid accumulates in those tissues, and then that acid tissue is kind of burning up all these nerve endings and make everything very uncomfortable. So what we need to understand is that a person doesn't need to over-exercise to have too much lactic acid. Dr. Emmanuel Revisi helped us understand that there's a natural circadian rhythm to the body at the cellular level. During the day, our bodies should be in a more catabolic state where it's really good at creating energy and breaking down tissues so that it can be rebuilt. And then the body moves into a more anabolic state at night where it's very good at resting and repairing and rebuilding. The problem is a lot of people will get stuck in one of these states most of the time. They're not switching back and forth between day and night like they're supposed to, or they get pushed way too far into one state. So if someone is stuck too far in this anabolic state, it can kind of change the way that the body and the cells operate. So in an overly anabolic state, the body will tend to make its energy through fermentation. Now, this fermentation is an alternate way that the body creates energy. It should do that. That's fine for it to do that. But if it's creating energy through fermentation most of the time, it can create real problems because a byproduct of creating energy through fermentation is lactic acid. So if a person's really stuck in this anabolic state and they're creating all their energy through fermentation, they're creating all of this lactic acid that's accumulating in the system. And if they can't get rid of it fast enough, it's going to create problems like RLS or maybe even anxiety and other problems. So if a client is dealing with RLS, we can help them figure out, are you leaning too far on this anabolic side by looking at their unique bio-individuality? And if they're leaning too far on that anabolic side, we can help them correct that imbalance, and then the lactic acid levels will come down and improve those RLS symptoms. We can also help clients look at maybe some possible pH issues. And when I talk about pH, I don't want you to think that I'm talking about, oh, you need to go on an alkalizing diet. You need to alkalize or you'll be dead by Thursday. You know, a lot of these pH gurus are telling everyone that they need to alkalize, and there's a lot of fiction in that world. There's a lot of mistakes in that world. The reality is that the body should have different pHs. The stomach should be very acidic and our bloodstream should lean a little bit towards the alkaline side. And different fluids and tissues should have different pH values. So we really don't want to try to alkalize our clients because that can create a whole lot of problems. The reality is that the blood should be leaning a little bit on the alkaline side, but when the blood leans too far on that alkaline side, it can actually make the tissue fluids a little bit too acidic. And so we want to help clients find a balance and understand that if their blood is leaning a little bit too on the alkaline side or a little bit too on the acidic side, they can make changes to correct that, and that can change where those tissue fluids are. And they may be burning up in acidity or alkalinity. A tissue fluid leaning too far on either side can create discomfort and make that person want to move their legs around and create those RLS symptoms. But to understand where that blood pH is, we don't want to look at urine and saliva pH like a lot of the pH gurus will tell you to do. We really want to look at breath rate, and that'll give us more of an indication of where the pH of the blood is. The pH of the blood does not line up and correlate with the pH of the urine and saliva. That's absolute fiction. But this does help us understand why some people will see relief when they take baking soda for RLS. It's because the alkaline baking soda is improving an imbalance that's leaning too far on the acidic side. Now, this is not a solution you want to use with your clients because baking soda is going to neutralize stomach acid. It's going to turn off their ability to digest their food and pull all those minerals out of the food like we talked about at the beginning. So having a client take a little bit of baking soda, maybe a quarter teaspoon away from food to see if it makes those issues worse or better could give you some indication of where their chemistry is, but it's not a solution you want them using long term. So you can see, how could there be one solution that every person could use for RLS when the underlying cause can really vary from person to person? So if you want to understand how to help your clients look at their unique bio-individuality using home tests that they can do with tools they can pick up at a pharmacy or a health food store, my book Health Pro Results will walk you through how to teach your clients how to look at those self-tests and understand what those results tell them about their bio-individuality. Now, the book is available on Amazon, but we're going to put a link in the description below where you can get the whole book for free. So the book will teach you how to show your clients how to look at their unique bio-individuality and figure out the underlying cause of their RLS, but it'll also teach you how to help clients fix any digestive malfunctions that may be restricting their ability to pull minerals out of their food. So we'll put the link so you can get that book for free below. But for now, if you want to better understand an anabolic imbalance to see if those might be an issue for some of your clients dealing with RLS, check out our video on understanding an anabolic imbalance. I can't wait to hear about your results.